Welcome to our brief overview of ICAO Annex 13 Aircraft Accidents and Incident Investigation. Before we go through the chapters 1 to 8 of ICAO Annex 13, let's have a quick summary. And this summary is actually quite simple to understand, as this annex basically contains the standard and recommended practices, or SARPs, related to investigation of an aircraft accident or serious incident. It consists of all procedures and protocol needed to assess these following situations. Chapter 1, Definitions. Normally, people would think that it is just a dictionary of terminologies. However, in this particular definitions chapter, not only does it consist of those terminologies, but also a more in-depth description of what the word accident is when mentioned in this annex. This includes what can be involved, cases that assess level of danger, and even exceptions to what isn't considered an accident. Chapter 2, Applicability. This chapter is a very simple and quick one, just like all the other chapters that have the applicability in their title states that the specification of this annex will only apply to whatever has occurred in this very annex. Chapter 3, General. Now, this chapter in particular is very important for us to understand. That is because we should all be aware that the objective of this annex is not to raise suspicion, shift blame, and or liability when these incidents actually occur, but rather as an assessment of these accidents by making sure that these incidents basically never happen again. It also states that only the state can establish investigation authority that is separate from the actual state. That is to cover more information when controlling the following situations. Chapter 4, Notification. In this chapter, it actually elaborates on the notification process, as well as the rules and procedures will be used to disseminate the information of the accident. It also explained the notified responsibilities of the following: the state where it happens or state of occurrence, the state on whose register the aircraft is entered, the state of registry, the state in which the operator's principal place of business is located or state of operator, the state responsible for the aircraft type design or state of design, and the state that responsible for the final assembly of the aircraft or state of manufacture. Chapter 5, Investigation. This chapter highlights the responsibilities, organization, conduct, and participation of the states instituting and conducting the investigation. Under this chapter, it states that the investigation shall be conducted by the Accident Aviation Authority, in which it is responsible for developing documented policies and procedures detailing its accident investigation duties. The investigation in charge shall initiate the investigation and shall have unhampered access to the wreckage and all relevant information, including flight recorders, ground-based recording, autopsy examination, medical examination, etc., and also have unrestricted control over it to ensure that a detailed examination can be made without delay by the authorized personnel participating the investigation. Also, the authority shall be separate from any judicial or administrative proceeding to the apportion blame and liability. However, The state shall recognize the need for coordination between the investigation in charge and the judicial authorities. Basically, in this investigation, it normally includes gathering, recording, and analysis of all relevant information of the accident or incident, protection of accident or incident investigation records, if appropriate, the issuance of safety recommendations, the determination of the causes and or contributing factors, and completion of the final report. And we will have a video example for this chapter. In this video example of chapter 5, it mainly talks about the international protocol that dictates the air crash investigations, which are handled by the country in which a crash occurs. In this case, Utopia will take the lead. However, the airline manufacturer Boeing and other affected countries, including Kenya and the United States of America, for this case, have also sent their investigators. Technical experts should secure the area, documents, and map in the collection of evidence. The two vital pieces of information or evidence that should be collected and prioritized is the CVR or cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder or FDR, which are also known as the black box that will provide crucial leads, as one records the recent history of the flight and the other records the sound in the cockpit. Both have been recovered for the ill-fated airlines. In addition, the investigators will also record interviews with eyewitnesses, survivors, and analysis of any audio or visual recordings. Finally, it will take 45 to 60 days to several months before the investigation can be completed. So this is the process being taken for an air crash investigation. Chapter 6, Final Report. In this chapter talks about final reports ultimately providing as much official information as possible on an accident investigation's findings, causes, and or contributing factors, as well as any safety recommendations on how applicable aviation safety framework should be amended in the future. And also, there is an example of a final report in the slide shown, as the final report begins with the title and the name of the operator, manufacturer, model, nationality, and registration marks of the aircraft, place and date of the accident or incident, and shall be publicly available within 12 months if possible. Chapter 7, ADREP reporting or ADREP reporting. This chapter consists of two parts, which are the preliminary report and the incident report, which this report shall be provided by the state while conducting the investigation. These reports should be sent to different authorities, state, and even the ICAO or International Civil Aviation Organization soon after the investigation or within 30 days of the date of accident. And with that, we actually have a video example for this chapter. In this video example of chapter 7, it actually explains on how response and investigations are conducted in the event of a plane crash. As they set up their GO team being formed for the investigations, as the response to the crash site, as you can see from the video, they're actually loading up a lot of things onto the aircraft that they are going to use, as this actually contains their GO kit that includes satellite communication equipment, food, water, cooking equipment, personal protective equipment, tents, generators, and many more. This GO team is actually divided into three categories such as crisis support, humanitarian support, and communication. And from there, they will be split up into forward and rear teams respectively. This is just a short summary of the video example as it actually goes full detail of its process. Chapter 8, Accident Prevention Measures. This chapter may talks about the responsibilities of a state to facilitate an effective analysis in a case an accident occurs to provide preventive measures. In the event an accident occurs in another state, the state authorities of where the aircraft came from also has the responsibility to participate and cooperate with the investigations. And in this slide presentation, there's actually an example of a final report. So this is actually a final report on the Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX accident. And in this report would help Boeing to redesign their aircraft to prevent the accident from happening again. And at the same time to improve and reevaluate the crew of Lion Air. And with that, we have reached the end of this presentation. Thank you for listening.